I'm here in Courtown, a small village in the north of Wexford, a popular seaside resort for Dubliners and for County Wexford locals. And every hotel in this small village has been overtaken and given over to refugees. And I'm just here to ask the locals about what their thoughts are on this topic. So these refugee centres, how many of them are in the village?
Well, you have the Courtown Hotel, that's full.
Yeah.
The Troublemakers, that's the one around the corner, that's full. You have Harbour House up here, that's full as well. So there's no real tourist accommodation, apart from caravan parks or mobile home parks.
So would you say that the influx of refugees has affected the business in the town or in the village a lot?
Well, I know people who used to come to the hotels for weekends and that they can't do that anymore because they're full all year round. So, which I don't think is good for tourism. Yeah. And I'm not against these people. They're getting away from wars and whatever. But I think we just can't cope with the amount that's coming. Yeah. That's my opinion. Yeah.
How has having this refugee centre here affected the lives of the villagers?
The village is dead. The village is dead. I mean, the people that are staying in these centres, they don't even spend a penny in the village here. So, I mean, there's nobody can come down and stay overnight in the hotels, and the village depends on holidaymakers all the time. And I mean, so what do you do? What can we say? I mean, they just came. They said they were putting it in. The Labour Party was down here a few weeks ago with the head of the Labour Party and the local councillor, and they went around smiling as if, we've done great. But who have they done great for? What is the people of Wexford and Ireland getting from this centre? Absolutely nothing.
How many years have you been living in Courtown?
I'm down here 8 years now, my family's down here 10.
Yeah.
And over the last 10 years it's started to look like a completely different country.
Yeah. And has there been any trouble with the refugee centres, refugees in these centres over the last few years?
Yeah, there has been. There was a fella stabbed around the corner there the other day. There was Albanians, Jordanians or whatever we want to call them. Georgians, yeah. They were having a little fight with each other and decided to stab each other. So that's the type of people we're bringing into the country. And if you notice that the ones that are coming into the country, they're all military age men. There's not one woman, child. There's nothing. They're all military age men. The countries that they come from, there's no war in them countries.
I just was around the corner here. There's a hotel, and I just walked by it earlier on, and it seems to be full of. I only saw men anyway, but has there been any trouble in the area since these?
There was loads of trouble, but the troublemakers, they moved them around like everything else. Like judges moved paedophiles and like everything else, they moved them around. They moved the troublemakers around to different places.
Yeah. So they're basically gone to another village somewhere else in Ireland, is it?
Well, that's what I think. They had a stabbing there around the corner a while ago, and they just moved them around.
Yeah. Yeah. And then your thoughts then, do you think that in the long term this is going to be a positive for Courtown or a negative in the long term?
It'll absolutely be a negative. I don't care whether they come from England or Scotland or Wales. But if we're over there in the pub, you'll never see one of them buying a pint. You'll never see one of them in a restaurant. And whatever money you get over here, I don't know what money you get, but you'll never see them spend it in this community.
I don't agree with them being here, considering our homeless are left on streets and everything else and pushed out here and pushed out there. I definitely don't. Now, in saying that, I have had no trouble with any of them, but there has been trouble and it hasn't been reported, or where apparently some of them have been known to follow young girls and cause trouble fighting and stuff like that, and just they shouldn't be here.
So a lot of families from Ireland have kind of been left out on the streets, and it's not great for all of us. And it's like the government is kind of taking care of the refugees instead of taking care of their own. So that's kind of my point from it.
You go down to the hotel there now, the Refugee Hotel, and you will see Jeeps, Lexus Jeeps, that I couldn't afford, and young men driving them. So, I mean, let's be honest, they're not refugees.
Yeah. And then just one more question for you then. Just since I was up around there and I see a lot of young men standing outside one of the hotels there.
That's right, yeah.
And so I mean, has there been any trouble?
There has, yeah. Sure, it was up on Facebook there about a month ago. One of them, they started fighting among themselves, and one of them got knifed, and you know, and they were out on the road doing all this, and people trying to get past, people with children, you know, in the middle of summer.
Well, I'm a social care worker within the community, so like I haven't worked in that sector particularly, but like I'm all of the opinion to have them here, all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like I know there's a few people that wouldn't necessarily agree with them, but like a lot of them, like the Courtown hotel, they're Syrian refugees, they're escaping a war zone, like you can't expect them to live where they were, so I'm more than happy to let them in the community, you know what I mean?
I think the locals now, as these refugees are coming in, I think the locals are the second class citizens here, and everyone, like the locals have to wait and you have to get means tested on their social welfare or whatever else you have to, but if you have a refugee status, you don't, they're just being handed everything for free. So, now look, if we done it for years, but we didn't get handed everything. We had to work. Do you know what I mean? €220 a week for coming over for nothing. It's silly. All we're going to do is open the floodgates for more of them. What, 220 get them back home? Do you know what I mean? They're rich now. So, no, I don't agree with it whatsoever.
I've known young girls to be intimidated and being followed and the whole lot. And there is, don't get me wrong, there is a few of them that are really nice. They're okay, they work in the charity shops, they try and do whatever they can. But then there's the others. You know what I mean? It's not right. It's definitely not right. All right, Ukraine's any troubled country that needs help, yeah, but there's a lot of them here that aren't. They're all different nationalities, and one thing is, I'm not racist. Never been. I have friends all over the world myself, but this has gone beyond a joke. It's ridiculous.
Why has Ireland taken in, from latest figures, 184,000 or something refugees? Why Ireland? I mean, we can't. There's people living on the streets in Wexford. If you go up to Courtown itself, there's people living on the streets. We can't even feed them, and yet these people are getting fed, clothed. They're getting petrol for their cars. They're driving around in cars, Ukrainian registration numbers. No tax, no insurance. If a guard passes me on the street and I haven't got a tax or insurance displayed, I'll be stopped and fined. They won't.